It is an honor and a blessing for me to be here with you today. Suzanne, in her kindness, reached out to me yesterday morning to ask if I thought I would still be able to make it. I trust that most of you have now heard the news coming from Haiti yesterday. So I'm happy to be here, but I have to admit I'm still feeling a little bit of shock and just that surprise, when you see how quickly circumstances can change and how fast lives can be changed forever. So I'm not certain that my reflection turned out exactly the way I'd envisioned it originally after yesterday's news, but here we go anyway. So as I enter this space today, just invite you to do so with me prayerfully, holding our Haitian brothers and sisters extra close in our hearts, and asking our Creator to bring them peace and stability to their nation after the assassination of President Jovenel Moise yesterday. So that scripture reading, which is of course a bit of an obscure passage, but it does give me a doorway to share with you a bit about what's happening in rural Haiti, especially with a very special group of Haitian women who form and lead what is called the Grassroots Haitian Women's Federation. So I'm going to share my screen with you now, give a few pictures. So this is the Haitian Women's Federation. They're about 350 women strong and growing. They represent 7 distinct villages in the mountainous St. Mark area, which is about 2.5 hours northwest of the capital city of Port-au-Prince. So way up high. And we have been blessed as an organization to partner with PWRDF and the Haitian Women's Federation to work on 2 projects in recent years. So last year, right at the start of COVID, that was a revitalization of this clinic that you can see on the screen. The project provided much needed supplies, medicine, expansion of consultation rooms, furniture, including gynecology exam tables for the maternity patients, and also supported nurses like Benessi, shown here, to spread awareness and to teach about COVID prevention. The second project is ongoing now with the same Women's Federation and involves many of the same female leaders who spearheaded that clinic revitalization as well. And this project is a sustainable tree nursery and an agricultural processing factory where they will process rice, corn, millet, breadfruit, and other nutritional products and then market them for sale. So this project is expected to be a very big boost to the entire community. People do come from miles around to access those mills, be able to grind their product and get it to market. And breadfruit, this is new to be able to process and dry breadfruit, which is actually ground into a specialty flour, and you can see is used in a variety of delicious foods, especially this great big cake. So the women recently held a celebration to celebrate the opening of the building and to get the whole community excited about this project. So we really can't wait to see how it unfolds and what they do next. In that Nehemiah passage that was just shared, there's this very sort of long list of strange names and patriarchs who helped with the rebuilding of the Jerusalem wall. You have next to him Hattush, son of Hashabniah. I don't think I do justice as Greg did to those names, but and so on and so on. They made repairs until you get to that final line. Next to him, Shallum, son of Halohesh, ruler of half the district of Jerusalem, made repairs, he and his daughters. Why the sudden mention of the daughters? And I wonder what roles did they play? Were they bringing food and water for the workers? Were they doing manual labor that would be traditionally reserved for men? Did they spread the mortar? Did they carry the stones? We only know that their contribution was significant enough to get them mentioned in the list of builders, and they're the only women who were so named. It makes me wonder, what is it that those women felt they were doing for their community when they participated in the rebuilding of the wall? Were there other women who helped and just didn't get named for some reason? And how many community development initiatives around the world actually rely on the strength and ingenuity of women who often go unthanked and unrecognized? The task, the rebuilding of Jerusalem's wall, was a key to the safety and security of the city. It was key to protecting their families and establishing a sense of community, unity, and togetherness. And that's actually what we see happening in the St. Mark region in Haiti as well. Haitian construction involves a lot of rocks. And with both the clinic project and this new breadfruit factory and tree nursery, men, women, and children from the community have pitched in to collect those rocks. They're harvested right from the mountainside, taken from the rivers, or broken up into pieces with a pickaxe by hand by those who are strong enough to wield one. In the case of the breadfruit factory, just to lay the foundation for that building and the perimeter fence that will protect the nursery from pesky goats and other livestock, the women had to each contribute a truckload of rocks. So each of the 7 villages that were participating, their women went out into the countryside to collect those rocks and bring them to the location by hand. So a pile of work, a pile of community building at the same time. So when you get back to that passage, you see the trouble that they were in Jerusalem. And today, following the assassination of Haitian President Jovenel Moïse, I'm reminded again how Haiti is a nation that is constantly in the news for the wrong reasons. You hear all the bad stuff. You hear about the political crisis, economic disaster, hurricanes, an earthquake. You hear about a people who have suffered much, but you don't often hear about the women who, like the women in the passage about the rebuilding of the wall, can often be unrecognized for the tremendous work that they do, overcoming horrendous injustice and seemingly insurmountable odds. That phrase, that "let us start building," feels to me like an echo of some of the very words I've heard right from the lips of the Haitian women, because they see a problem, they devise a solution, and then they get it done. I want to share with you a little story that happened a couple weeks ago. In this photo, Madame Alida in the beautiful yellow dress, as well as Nurse Benesy, who I showed you a photo of earlier. They had to go to the bank to cash a check for the project funds. They were to receive the next disbursement, giving them some cash to go and purchase supplies that are needed for the ongoing construction of the tree nursery. Now that seems like a simple task, but they went to the bank where they waited in line in the hot Haitian sun for about 5 hours before they were turned away and told to come back the next day at 5 a.m. You imagine going to the bank at 5 a.m. I don't know about you, but I myself have felt a little grumpy with the COVID lineups at the bank in my hometown, and that can be because I had to stand there for 10 minutes. But these ladies returned the next day at 5 a.m. to take a number. And at 5 a.m., they were number 80 in line and proceeded to wait another 12 hours in line outside in the hot Haitian sun before they finally were able to cash that check at 5 p.m. When I heard that, I was horrified and wondered how they felt. And I was told by their supervisor that they were simply happy to bring the funds home, happy that the task had been achieved, and then their community could then proceed with the purchase of goods. And of course, that purchase was completed almost immediately. They rounded up the goods, got their driver to take them to all the construction supply stores, purchase what they need, and get on with it. These are ladies who get it done. In that verse again, I feel that the lying in ruins could be a metaphor for the political and economic situation in Haiti today. But I know that the story doesn't end there. What we don't see in the news is what the Haitian people are doing right now. Removed from the capital, removed from any hope of help from their government, they are banding together for common good, supporting local solutions. And I wonder, how can we be partners in that task? In rural Haiti, we're seeing these women leading the charge. Years from now, if somebody writes a history like the one in the Nehemiah passage, I don't imagine it's going to say that Rayjon or PWRDF made repairs. I'm quite certain that Alida's name will be there, that Benesy's name will be there, and that the names of the 350 other women who are helping to rebuild their community will be proclaimed loudly. Maybe, just maybe, there'll be a little line at the end that says, and their international partners stood with them. There are many ways for us to do that, through prayer, especially prayer for peace and formation of a government that would truly serve the people, through awareness building, through sharing their stories and advocacy, and certainly with our financial support. Can we too commit ourselves to the common good and stand with them? Thank you.